Oh, hold on. There's more. A new radically designed iMac, a smaller Mac Pro, and even a brand new, cheaper Apple external display. There's so much more, and I know you just saw me in the last video like a few hours ago. Hold on. Let me compose myself. Let me fix myself up a little bit here.
1 hour later.
Whew. Okay, that's better. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Greg here, and oh boy, January 15th will live as a day of infamy as we have gotten so many leaks about not only the next generation MacBook Pros, which I'll leave up here if you're interested in learning about those, but also out of the blue, Mark Gurman hits us with another blockbuster report on a brand new, redesigned iMac, a smaller Mac Pro, and a cheaper Apple external display, which if you want to read his reporting on all of these new products, I will leave a link in the description. So let's get into the video and start with the first one, a brand new iMac design. Now, Gurman says that the new model will slim down the thick black borders around the screen and do away with the sizable metal chin area in favor of a design that is similar to Apple's Pro Display XDR monitor. These iMacs will have a flat back, moving away from the curved rear of the current iMac design, and Apple is planning to launch two versions of this iMac, codenamed J456 and J457, to replace the existing 21.5-inch and 27-inch iMacs, and that will be coming later this year. This will be the first design change to the iMac in over 8 years since Apple last changed the iMac by removing the disk drive and making the device very slim. And this sounds like the first radical design change of the iMac since the introduction of the aluminum iMac, which was released all the way back in 2007. That was 14 years ago since the iMac has received a substantial update to how the front of the display looks. So to say this design refresh is long overdue would be the understatement of the century. Now, as Gurman says, we should be expecting much slimmer bezels and the removal of the chin, and again, a design that looks similar to the Pro Display XDR. So this is going to have a major reduction in bezel size. Gurman is also reporting that this will have a flat back, which lines up with other rumors from Sonny Dixon that the iMac would be receiving an iPad Pro-like design language refresh. And I think that means basically this will look pretty similar to the Pro Display XDR, which Gurman kind of says it will, which already has flat sides and has moved away from the curved design of previous iMacs. We've heard rumors of a new 24-inch iMac coming later this year from Mrtechboi, but this is the first time we're hearing about a refresh to the bigger 27-inch iMac. And based on Gurman's reporting, it sounds like both of these models will launch together. As for whether or not the 27-inch iMac gets a bigger display upgrade is unknown at this point. Apple could just shrink the physical footprint of the computer down while reducing the bezels. But if it is going to have a bigger display with the reduction in bezel size, I assume it would be close to the 32-inch size, which is the same display size as the Pro Display XDR. The display for these new iMacs is rumored to be a mini LED display, which should be gracing a lot of Apple's products this year, from the new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros to the new iPad Pro. This mini LED display would lead to greater contrast ratios and increased brightness, and as I have theorized, give us the ability to properly view HDR content. Gurman says the iMac redesign will be one of the biggest visual updates to any Apple product this year, and that's just so exciting to hear. As a big fan of the iMac, it has been my main computer since the original iMac, and I just can't wait to see how this version looks. Now, these iMacs won't just look different, but they'll be different on the inside as well, complete with an upgrade to Apple Silicon, and they should have similar chips in them to the next generation MacBook Pros, with chips that may go as high as 16 high performance cores and even better graphics than the M1 equipped Macs. Because of my experience with the new M1 Mac Mini, I expect that this Mac will run just as quiet even with a fan inside of it. There's still a lot we don't know about these iMacs, including how they'll be priced, how many ports they'll have, and the specific screen sizes that Apple will bring to the bigger model. But this report gives us a clear indication of the design direction that Apple is heading in with the iMac, so let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this rumored redesign? Because personally for me, as I hope you can tell, I am just so excited for it. But wait, there's more, as Apple is also planning to give us 2 updates to the Mac Pro. Yes, 2 different Mac Pros. One of them will look exactly the same according to Gurman, and Apple is even talking about using Intel processors on that machine. Now I know what you're thinking, this sounds pretty strange, why wouldn't Apple just use their new Apple Silicon chips inside of this Mac Pro? Well, we may have to consider that Apple does not yet have a chip design that can compete with the higher core counts of the Intel Xeon chips. Or maybe they do and they just don't have strong enough graphics cards to go into this updated Mac Pro that are compatible with Apple Silicon, and they may be a few years away before they are able to deliver on a chip that can either rival the Xeon chips or a graphics card that is more than powerful enough to be put inside a Mac Pro. The current Mac Pro also has a design that is much friendlier to swapping out parts and upgrading storage, memory, and graphics yourself. While it's currently unknown if Apple will be able to offer that level of upgradability if they were able to use their own Apple Silicon in that device, which will probably be more locked down than what is currently offered in the Intel Mac Pro option. So if the chips aren't ready, or they're aware that Pro users will still need to change parts frequently, it would make sense for Apple to update the Mac Pro one more time with the more recent Intel chips, but honestly this sounds like a pretty minor spec bump and nothing to get too excited about. However, there's a second Mac Pro in the works, and Gurman says that this one will use Apple's own processors, and will be less than half the size of the current Mac Pro. The design will feature a mostly aluminum exterior and could invoke nostalgia from the Power Mac G4 Cube, a short-lived, smaller version of the Power Mac, an earlier iteration of the Mac Pro. And yes, my nostalgia is invoked, because growing up, I always loved the design of the Power Mac G4 Cube, and now with Apple Silicon, with a beefed up M-series processor, this form factor would honestly be perfect for delivering a powerful, cool, and quiet computer, much like the new M1 Mac Mini, and this will be Apple's chance to actually get that type of design right. They'll be able to do it on this new architecture. And if Apple can take that design off ice and bring it back to us, I may be having some very difficult conversations with myself about whether or not to get a new iMac or this smaller size Mac Pro. It's going to be such a hard choice. And that decision is only going to get harder because the last thing Gurman mentioned in this report is that Apple is also working on an updated Apple external display that will be sold alongside the Pro Display XDR. And this display will be much cheaper and aimed at consumers rather than aiming to be a pro reference monitor. This means that it wouldn't have the brightness and contrast ratio of the Pro Display XDR, but I'm guessing this new display would probably have the same exact panel as the future 2021 iMac we talked about earlier in the video, so it should still be pretty good. And honestly, this is great news, because one of the things a lot of Apple fans like about Apple is their design aesthetic and the quality of their displays. Apple hasn't had a consumer-level external display since the old Thunderbolt monitors, and even though they did partner with LG to make the LG Ultrafine 5K, that's the same exact display that is behind me right now, this display never matched Apple's design aesthetic, and there's also been a few problems with these displays that I don't really think live up to Apple standards. I would expect the price of this rumored consumer-level display to be around $1,300, which is the same price as the LG Ultrafine 5K, and that would be a much more comfortable price than the $5,000 Pro Display XDR, and that doesn't even include the optional $1,000 stand. But I think this external display is really long overdue and should make an excellent pairing with the new Mac Mini, a new MacBook, or that new rumored G4 Cube-like Mac Pro. As for when you can get your hands on all of these new products, right now it looks like Gurman is only confident that the new iMac will be launched sometime this year in 2021, and I imagine we will at least see a sneak peek of it at this year's WWDC in June. As for the new Mac Pro and external display, there's no reporting on when we should expect those products, but if I get any updates, I'll be sure to make a new video. But anyway, that's all we know about the new iMac, new Mac Pro, and new Apple external display. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, be sure to leave me a like. If you want to see more from my channel, well, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to help the channel out in any way, make sure you check out some of the links in the description. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video, which hopefully isn't as quick as this video. But either way, take care, everyone.